it was the motivation to get what is essentially a foreign language film with subtitles translated as directly as possible for an American audience. It seems like there's almost a proselytizing zeal to that project. There seems no other motivation that I can work out.
Well, for me, it was, again, my thing about directors. Michael Haneke, I think, is one of the directors that will be, his work will be studied in years to come. It will always be remembered. You know, I saw the film, the original, and like you, was incredibly disturbed and had to talk almost all the way through it just to remind myself that it was actually a film. And again afterwards discussed it for hours. And I like that it's provocative. And I liked that he was fucking with you, you know, that he was getting into your head and making you feel like you have blood on your hands as an audience member. And then when I like I said, I love Piano Teacher, Code Unknown, Cachet. They were all films that were very much in my head. So there was something about the film. I mean, you can't say I loved this film. You can say it deeply affected me and got under my skin, and you know, you need to discuss it endlessly with people. So when I went and met with Michael and spoke to him about it, he was able to articulate what I was feeling, and it became very clear to me. And again, I just couldn't resist working with a great director. And then when he told me about the shot for shot, I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, why does he want to make this film again? And I think really what the reason is that he originally made it to speak to the American audience because he feels that they're the biggest consumers of violence. The fact that it didn't reach the American audience was frustrating to him. And, you know, he was approached by the producers and said, you know, would you like to do this? And I think, yeah, it was something he really wanted to do. But he didn't want to go and, you know, change the ending or make it lighter here or, you know, take away this beat or that beat. He wanted to do the same film because his intention was pure in the beginning, and he just wanted to repeat that. As an actor, it was incredibly challenging to be in a film where the shots were the same and therefore the blocking was all dictated because of that. And like I was saying earlier, with, you know, you like to create a little fight with your director. I mean, there were a few of those with Michael. And again, they were all because, you know, in honor of the performance. But yeah, he would have it all mapped out. It's very, very precise. I mean, I felt like I had my hands tied behind my back and I was gagged, which in this film I was.
You were.
But it felt so inorganic. You know, you like to sort of do a scene and find it. You know, you don't want it to be too intellectual. But that's how Michael works, and not just about the remake. That's how he works with every film. He swore that to me. Because I'd say, why did you get me to do this? Why? You know, if I just have to do, you know, follow this plan. And he said, no, that's how I do it. That's my process. And so I said, okay. So it was a great discipline, as frustrating as it was. You know, and I think there's something about me that likes to be pushed and, you know, sometimes annoyed by a director. I like to be told, you know, do it this way. You know, particularly when you really trust you know, who they are and what they do and their body of work, and you like to put yourself in their hands and just have them kind of push you about a bit.
What's been the reaction in America so far? I mean, have you managed to gauge reaction? Because there's no explanation offered whatsoever as to why these psychotic young men behave as they do. And without being over-reductive, American films tend to want an explanation, or they want the possibility of redemption. And this, I don't think, has any possibility for redemption at all.
No, and I think that's his point, is that, we explain violence. It's always about revenge, or the good guys are the good guys and the bad guys are the bad guys. And the bad guys, look a certain way, and they're, from a lower class mentality, or, and he's just saying this: you cannot escape violence. It can come from anywhere. And, these two guys are the sweetest, most pleasant guys that you would absolutely let into your home. And he's showing violence without giving you what you actually want. And that's what he's saying is, look, we're culpable. We are waiting for those moments. We cheer when someone's brains are blown out. He's basically, it gives a very violent feeling, but apart from one cartoony moment, there is never anything seen. It's always the before and the after, which has a greater impact, I think.
It's kind of the antithesis to Jodie Foster's new film, The Brave One, where people did, in the audience when I saw it, both in England and America, cheer at the moment where the brains are blown out of the person who's responsible for beating up and raping her, killing her husband.
Right.
So you've just made a film in London. So it's a great film. London is, we'd like to think, potentially your spiritual home. You've just made a film. You've just made a film and co-produced a film that was intended by the director initially, when it was made in Germany, as an indictment of not just of global attitudes to violence and the way we consume it, but specifically America. Then he's remade it in America, so that's an indictment of America. Are you going to come back to Britain? Are you going to give up America now? Are you going to leave LA and come and live and work in London? Could you ever consider leaving America?
Liev? No, I love America. I've lived there for years now. But yeah, and I've moved around so much from and such an early age that there's no real place that really feels like home to me, and I can create home wherever I go, really. But I love London. I do.
You don't have to say that.
I do. I really do. I actually genuinely, and for me, it's a great place because it feels like it's somewhere in between Los Angeles and New York. I know, no, geographically speaking, but the vibe here, it's slower than New York. It's faster than LA, and it's spread out, but it's not like isolating. It's a real city. And there's a real energy. I mean, Liev and I were talking about it today. It just feels, there's a lot going on wherever you turn. There's a great energy going on here.